Everyone, Krista Cowan here. Today we are going to be talking about family history as a we activity. So for so many years, especially since family history came online, it's really easy to just do your genealogy research and build your family tree sitting in your pajamas and your bunny slippers at 2 a.m. on your computer. But one of the things that we have learned in the last couple of years in particular is how important connection is, especially connection with our family. And so I'm just going to spend a few minutes with you today helping you understand what sharing and collaboration tools are available on Ancestry, and then a few tips about how best to use them. So let's go ahead and dive in. First up, let's talk about the fact that there are more than 3 million subscribers on Ancestry and over 100 million family trees that have been created by both our subscribers and by those who are registered guests on Ancestry. The tree building facilities on Ancestry are free to use, so you do not have to have a subscription to do that. We have nearly 20 million people who have taken the Ancestry DNA test, and so many of them have built family trees or started to build family trees as well. So there's this really robust network of possible cousins and connections that you can make. One of the things that's interesting to think about is, you have siblings, and maybe some of your siblings are like mine and kind of roll their eyes a little bit when we start talking about family history. But in addition to my 4 siblings, I also have 12 first cousins. And then if you go back to my great-grandparents and look at all of my dad's first cousins and then their children and grandchildren, and then I go back one more generation, and now I've got how many third cousins. And so the number of possible cousins increases, obviously, every generation you go back. And my great-grandfather, who I knew, he was one of 98 first cousins on just his dad's side of the family. And so when you think about the fact that his parents and grandparents, these large families, stories and photographs may have been passed down in one branch of that family tree, and now there may be hundreds or even thousands of us who descend from that same couple who are looking to reconnect with some of those same stories and photos, or with some of those living cousins. So I'm just going to share with you a few ways that you can connect and collaborate a little more effectively. One of the things is that Ancestry has a free mobile app. And on the free Ancestry mobile app, there is a map feature for your tree that will show you where your ancestors lived. And so starting to become connected with different places as you travel, or with different DNA matches and understanding where they live compared to where your ancestors used to live, is a way to start to be aware of collaboration and connection opportunities. Having that just in your pocket and readily available as well is kind of a handy way to initiate conversations when you're together with your family in person, whether it's at a Sunday dinner with your siblings and their kids, or Thanksgiving dinner with all of your first cousins, or a family reunion in the summer with dozens and dozens of cousins. Here's just a quick list of other ways that you can use sharing and collaboration tools on Ancestry. The first thing I want to talk about is optimizing your Ancestry profile. So if you have an account on Ancestry, you have a profile, and that's whether you have a paid subscription or not. In that profile, you have the option to upload a photo. Now, it doesn't have to be a photo of your face if you're not comfortable with that. It can be your cat, or a picture of your grandma's old home, or whatever you'd like. But our research shows that accounts or profiles that have a photo actually receive more messages from other users and are more likely to get a response when they send messages out. So just adding a photo kind of increases your collaboration opportunities, if you will. You also have the opportunity here to set however much or little information you're comfortable sharing. In my case, I share where I live, and I do that intentionally because I happen to live in a town, even though I wasn't born or raised here, where my great-grandmother was born. And the cemetery that's not far from my home has several of our extended family members buried there, and I want cousins to be able to see and make that connection. I also chose to share my age range. You can choose to do that or not. Then you have the opportunity to share a little bit about yourself. And in this case, I disclose that I'm an Ancestry employee and share some of that information. And then I've also included some links to social media so people can find me elsewhere other than just on Ancestry. So go ahead and zhuzh up your social media profile a little bit, or your Ancestry profile there a little bit, and you'll find that people will connect with you and reach out to you and want to share information a little bit more readily than they might otherwise. Another sharing and collaboration tool on Ancestry is actually just your family tree. So when you create a tree on Ancestry, which again is a completely free service on Ancestry, in your tree settings, so you access those by clicking on the name of your tree, you have some privacy settings. Now, privacy settings around trees, you have the option to have your tree be public, which means anyone with an Ancestry subscription can see the dead people in your tree. Living people are automatically privatized. Or you can make your tree private, searchable, which means people can search for information in your tree, but if they try to view it, they'll be invited to send you a message and ask for you to share that information with them. Or you can make it private, unsearchable, which means nobody will even know you have a tree online or that information exists. So if connection and collaboration is your goal, I would encourage you to likely have a public tree. You can also then share your tree on that same tree settings page. I can click on sharing here. Now I'm not going to do that because I've shared my tree with quite a few people and it shows their email addresses. And so I want to keep that information private here in this setting. But when you click on sharing, it does take you to a screen that allows you to share your tree with anyone, any family member, again, whether they have an Ancestry subscription or not. You also have full control over what level of permission you give them. They can be a guest, they can be a contributor, they can be an editor, and you decide whether or not they can see living people in that tree or not. So that's another really great way to collaborate with family members. In my own family, I own the tree. It lives on my Ancestry account, but I've shared it with both of my parents and given them editor access. So they access the tree from their own accounts, and then I've shared it with my siblings with viewer access. Apparently, I don't trust them to do any edits, but they have that access then and can access Ancestry on their own mobile devices or through a web browser. The next option is the Ancestry Message Center. So Ancestry has created a message center that allows you to send and receive messages from other users, and the icon for that is going to be found up here in the top right-hand corner on Ancestry. You're going to see like a little speech bubble, and if it has a little green dot by it, it means you have messages from other users. From people's profiles, you can also send messages, and you can also send messages from your DNA match list directly to your DNA matches. Now, if you do not have a subscription to Ancestry, you can send messages to any of your DNA matches, and you can reply to any messages that you receive. You cannot, without a subscription, send messages to any user on Ancestry. So that's one of the features that's only available to subscribers. Okay, and then the last feature that I want to talk about is notes and comments on family trees. So on your family tree, on every person on your family tree, you have the ability to create notes or comments. Now, notes are private, like research notes. So even though my tree is public and even though my great-grandfather is deceased, this information in the notes is only visible to myself and to my parents because they have editor access to the tree. But if I wanted to make any of this information publicly available, I could come in here and I could write a comment. And as soon as I write a comment, then there's going to be a new little icon that appears here that anyone can click on and see additional information about him. It also means that anyone can come in here and leave a comment on my tree about this person. Now, I can choose to delete that or not, but it's a great way for us to communicate and collaborate with each other, especially if we have stories to share or other information. Speaking of stories, on the person profile, you're also going to have a person gallery where you can upload photos and you can add or upload stories. You also, if other family members have this person in their tree, you can come in here and use the Member Connect feature to say, this person in my tree is the same as this person in this tree over here that's my cousin's tree. And then if you have information from their tree that you want to copy to yours or vice versa, it makes it a little bit easier to do that through that Member Connect feature. Well, those are just some of the sharing and collaboration tools on Ancestry. I hope you'll go explore them. And if you do nothing else, at least just upload a photo to your profile. Makes you a little bit more approachable. You can also approach us on social media. You can follow Ancestry on Facebook. We have a very robust genealogy and ancestry community there. You can also watch videos that we prepare for you on a pretty regular basis on the Ancestry YouTube channel, or you can follow us on Instagram for additional tips and tricks. Well, that's all I have for you today. Until next time, I'm Krista Cowan. Have fun climbing your family tree.